Are we ready? I know I am. So, whether or not you are, it's time for another episode of the Indie Tales Game Dev live stream. Hey, my name is Adam. You are the Pixel Pals. I've already said the name of the show, so without further ado, it's time to go. Welcome everyone to the Friday edition of the stream. Friday on both Twitch and YouTube this week, and hopefully for good. YouTube's been a really awesome platform so far to be streaming on, and as far as I understand, from now on, if you want to catch a VOD of the stream, you will be able to find that on YouTube permanently. I don't think they delete the VODs, whereas on Twitch we only get them for 60 days. So that will be that'll be a nice thing to look forward to. Pardon me, just finishing my lunch. Okay, today we're going to be working on more Insignia, of course, and I'm feeling pretty good about where we left it yesterday. To be honest with you, I think we were in a really good spot, and I'm kind of excited to just continue chipping away at it and adding some more refinements to the system itself. And then hopefully, like, we might get a couple of tests in or some iterations. It's been really good getting your feedback on stream. That's actually one of the most valuable things since I've ever been streaming. Being able to get your feedback based on your actual playing of the game while I'm working on it, it's awesome. Okay, so big thank you to Upright Squire for the most recent sub. Thank you so much, Upright Squire. Hey, Bilbo Swaggins. Welcome back. How often do I read, says Steve McWinboy. As in books? I've been meaning to get back into it, actually. Hey, one sec. Speaking of reading, let me just swap my glasses out for a better pair. There you go. These are my fancy glasses. They don't have any paint chipped. My old glasses I kind of wear around the house, and then they're like 3 or 4 years old. These ones are only like a year old, and they're just a bit nicer. Okay. So, shall we get into it? Alright, so right now, the demo's in like a pretty decent spot. Like, you can jump in, you can play test it. Everything is pretty functional. Nothing should be like totally broken. And yesterday I was mostly working on refining some of the input stuff. So we, prior to yesterday, had a dodge roll in the game, and then I took it out because, pardon me, people were trying to run, right? And they would be getting roll instead. So, you know, you'd run up to a platform and you'd end up rolling off the platform accidentally. But I still like the input. I still like roll being holding the run button and then pressing across, rather than pressing across and then holding it. The only thing that I've been trying to kind of manage is what happens when you roll and then don't let go of the run button. In that case, it just turns into a run, and it doesn't matter how many times you let go of the analog stick. You can still run, and then you have to release the roll button and then press it again to get the roll. So what we're looking at here is the alpha. I should mention, actually, you know what? I'll do it right now. There's this one thing I need to fix. 1 second. Okay. Whoops. It's really bothersome that it does that, but it's okay. Okay, that should be on the screen at all times. Maybe the jiggling around is a little much, but 1 second. It actually kind of adds to it in a way. Okay. There we go. Now I don't have to worry. It will never be enough. I feel like there's no world where I win. Everyone will always say that there's something, oh, you know, this, it's a little bit, doesn't match my feelings of how I expect the game to be. It's an alpha. Okay. I'll get rid of the only. Okay. Now we know. Maybe I'll put it a little higher. Just a little bit out of the way. You can have it here, because I'm nice. Okay. Now you definitely can't miss it. It should flash too. All right. So I still think that the roll button's not quite right, but we'll figure it out. New OLED ghost font. Well, don't be playing this for too long on your OLED TVs. So this alpha is like semi-open for now. Once it's in a really good spot, I'm going to make it a closed alpha, specifically just for patrons, as like a timed exclusive thing, and then open it up to lower tiers of contributor. I think there's probably a case for like what's the word? Full access. Like maybe later on we can have like an open tier of test and then more progressively locked tiers as they get more spoilery for patrons and stuff. But for now we're just keeping it kind of, well, while I'm building it, I'm keeping it open. So let's come back here for a sec and have a look at some of these errors. Is this for an open alpha? Yeah. Already responded to that. Okay, so right now this is a bit of an issue. That alpha text seems really large and distracting during gameplay. It needs to be. That's exactly its function. I'm not a patron, but I've gifted some subs. Does that count? Yeah, I am planning on having basically like tiers of this. So this is sort of the thinking right now, where maybe like YouTube members and Twitch subs get like not priority access, but access nonetheless. Do I have any tips for drawing tile sets? Oh my gosh, I got so many videos about tile sets. You gotta watch my YouTube channel. There's like 6 videos on there that'll teach you end to end how I draw tile sets. Hey, Bilbo Swaggins, thank you so much for the sub. So, sort of thinking about something like this. Okay, so I really have to do this sort of scenario modal. That's kind of what we've got to do now. Let's figure that out. I guess we could instantiate that from maybe from game system. Is that Figma? It is Figma. Okay, let's go engine, scene loaded. If Insignia alpha, Insignia alpha, and then here we say if game system dot system dot test scenario is not null if check if active scene is the first scene in the test scenario. Then we want to load the modal. That's it. That's exactly what I want to do. I don't think that exists yet, but oh, I do have setup test start. Nice. Hey, Undead Alex. How's it going? I'm a UX designer at heart, but I do think that game design documents and UX documents are basically the same thing. All right, so we need the button here, public UI, UI focus. Now, these UI focuses, I wrote this script. And there are events. I think I call it F. So it's like focus.f equals new event, add listener, continue to survey. In this case, it's close menu. Otherwise, if we're setting up test end, we make this instead continue to survey. That's kind of it, I think. I've been working on Insignia. Let's call it like working on. I've had the project and been working on the project since mid 2016. That's kind of like when I decided to open up a Unity project and start it and call it like Insignia. Well, it wasn't called that at the time, but you know what I mean. Okay, so here, the focus, this needs to compile. Is hot reload working? Did I not make it public? I did. Okay, it's trying now. You gotta go back and replace all the other calls to menu.close with that function now. No, I don't need to do that. It's fine. Don't worry about that. Why are you worrying? I think this is, maybe this is like toString. And then this is not a singleton. So there has to be a testing UI modal somewhere. It might be engine.e.test Testing modal. Where is this? Where did I put this? Get component in children. Ugh. Engine.engine or get component in children. Oof. That's a bit yuck. But, oh, it's fine. It'll work. Hey, Kuja. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Hey, Octagonal. Ah, that's so great. It's nice to be mentioned in the same space as Pirate Software. We've both been on Twitch for a long time. So we both got a very similar message or like pledge to try to make people more aware of game dev and to get them encouraged to start. So if I've been able to do that in any capacity, that's a big success for me. Okay, so we start the game. We start the test. Okay, so no modal yet. What happens if we leave? Does the modal show up? It does show up. Okay. Does it work though? Does the button work? Nope. Okay. Hey, Adam Smith. So maybe we try to do this. Oh, this doesn't necessarily open the menu. How was I doing this in the past? From the test end door, I have modal.menu.open menu. Well, I think setup test end should open the modal. And then setup test start should also open the modal. Okay. Does it open? It did not. Does it close? It does not. That's okay, Jojoto. You're doing well. That's the way to do it. You just have to start. Modals are actually hard. Although I think I'm doing it right here. I think this makes perfect sense. Unless I need to make sure that the this is getting called. So like, let's have a look. Hey. Oh. Loaded. Okay. Oh, literally none of that happened. Okay, let's just force the compile again just to see if it works. Do you know what it could be? It could be that the game engine on scene loaded event only happens after the scene is loaded for the first time, because the engine is a singleton object that gets instantiated in this scene. Yeah. So There we go. That actually loaded it. So, we'll have to call this like something about test. I'm gonna put it into a thing called check test modal. Check test scenario. And I'm gonna put this here. And actually, void check test scenario. Oh, nope, get out of my face. I'm going to put check test scenario inside of setup instances because I believe that setup instances runs on the first time it gets created. Yeah. So actually that's the better place to put it. See ya, Octagonal. Hey, Cantor. Welcome, welcome. Hola. Big fan of your work. Is that shit gonna have that green background? I don't know what that means. That shit? Okay. We got close, but now this isn't quite right. So this is an actual scene object. Can we check to see if this is the same? This scenes here is a scene reference. And a scene reference... Oh, it's scene path. That's the best way to do it, I think. Maybe that's the best way. This is a string called scene path with a capital. Oh, because it's a function. Let's just try that. Maybe that will be better. Making tree animations. I use a shader for my tree animations. It's very complicated to try to add. Hey, we got something. Something happened, which is really, really good. But it's not necessarily what we wanted. Where is the modal? Did we get an error? I don't think we did. So we're getting all the way through to here now, which is really good. Set up test start. Open menu. Set up the text stuff. We probably should do that at the very end. But still. Oh, I wonder if this is the game system's scene fader taking up all that space, making everything fully lit up. What is taking up all of that light? It's not this. Is it... It doesn't look like it's that. Is the modal... The modal's on? Is the canvas group active? It is. I'm very confused. Hey, Noah. Yeah, there are some sound fonts in the demo from Majora's Mask. Hey, Adam. Have I used generative AI for coding assistance? Yeah. Yeah, I use Copilot. It's really, really good. I use it all the time. You know, sometimes like your brain knows what it wants, but it can't articulate it into words yet. So like you can start a sentence, but you can't finish it. You're like, give me a sec. Oh yeah, that's what I want to say. Copilot jumps in right around where I would want to do that, right around before I've actually formulated the exact code that I want to write. But after I've thought about exactly what I want to do, I start typing and it goes, oh, you mean this? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I went. It'll do that 80% of the time. It'll just jump ahead of me. And all I need to do is then recognize that what I'm reading is right. And then press tab. So, and man, code for game dev is so derivative. You're writing the same shit all the time. So it's not like you're going to write something. It's not like art where you're sacrificing your own personal style. It's like, no. I just need to sort this list, or I need to like make this reference, be set to true or something. So a lot of the time it's like you were going to write that character for character anyway, and it's just written it before you could get there. So what is this big black shape? The scene fader on the game engine. No, game dev is art. Programming is not art, necessarily. Game dev programming is not necessarily art. And I also don't think that it democratizes game dev at all, very much. I think that if you don't know how to code that stuff, it's actually quite dangerous. Like, you're more likely to get stuck than to get out of jail. You're going to write something and it's going to be kind of wrong. But if you know, if you are going to write it anyway, and you know how to write it, it makes you a lot faster. That's what it does. Don't get me wrong. It might, if you're like, okay, it might make you a little bit better. You might be able to find, like sometimes I'll say what I want and it'll reference some library that I'm not aware of. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I would have wanted to do that. So like I was going to write something more clumsy and it pointed me to a faster way. Say like link, if you know what link is. There might be some link query that I could have done to get some element from some list faster than I would have done it, which might have been like, I might have done a for loop and then gone through the list and find the element and blah, blah, blah. You know. In that instance, you'd learn something while you're using Copilot, but you still have to have a pretty good understanding of like what it is you're reading. So you can't be a noob. You can't be a complete beginner. Jump in and use Copilot to get yourself out. I mean, maybe. If you're the kind of person who can learn a language by listening to the language, you might be able to. In fact, I've learned. I think Duolingo is going to be doing this soon, where like you'll be having conversations with a bot, and that's just some people can just learn that way, like immersion learning. It's possible. But I don't trust most people to learn very efficiently that way. But some people might, if they're like really, like I kind of am a little bit like that. Like I like to get really, really deep and I like to make mistakes. And like, it might be good enough that you get what you're reading gives you a bit of context every time, even if it's wrong. So it's not that you can't learn code or that it doesn't democratize it. It's just a different way. I don't recommend it, but some people might learn through it faster. But for most people, I think it's just a power extender. It just makes you faster. All right. Okay. So, I was trying to show this modal, and the game engine has a thing called a fader, scene fader, which this thing works on real time, and it's at UI 1, but it should be at UI like -100. Well, oh, that's really interesting, isn't it? Maybe I'll make the modal higher than UI 1 and make sure it's on final render quads. Well, why shouldn't this be... I see exactly why this has happened. I see what I've done. Well, let's put it on UI instead. Okay. Go. And then we go. Ooh. Okay. Let's go to engine, UI, testing UI. Put this on final render quads. And put this on UI, I don't know, 10? Okay, now we can see it. Well, this should be in front of the scene fader at all times. And the scene fader, I mean, I don't know why it thinks it should be higher than UI. In fact, this should be like UI like -10, really, if anything. It shouldn't be anywhere. The scene is just the scene. I guess unless I want to fade over like the actual UI, like fade over this. I get it, but then it needs to be non-scaled time. If we want it on final render quads. Like, it can be there, but... Man, what's going on today? I bet you that I'm overwriting it somehow. I bet you I'm forcing it to have specific settings. Yeah, UI 10,000. Wait, no, that's a different scene fader. What am I looking at here? Game engine. UI. Scene fader. It got put on... Yeah, it's getting like changed like in real time. That's so interesting. Let's go over to here and go scene fader. Yeah. Here we go. Are you have I used Copilot? Oh, you're asking somebody else. I wonder if I've made a mistake here. If I go to... this... here... I mean, if it's on unscaled time, then it should just be doing what it's doing. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced I've done this right. I mean, this is all good and well. Is timescale set to 0? Oh, that shouldn't have been possible. Whoops. Timescale is 0. So if timescale is 0, then the fader, I mean, the fader should fade the scene in. If it's called the scene fader, it should run in scale time. It should just load in with the game when you're playing the game. And then that means that I think it should be on the UI layer, and I think that the testing modal should be above that. In fact, I think the pause menu should also be above that. I think if you pause the game before the scene loads in, I think you should see the menu above the black. So that's, I mean, the scene fader should be on like UI negative, like -1 at least, at most. Let's go UI scene fader, not final render quads, but UI -100. Okay. And then here, we shouldn't be touching the sorting order. This is so dumb. Why would I do that? Stupid. Okay, well, maybe now. Okay, we're in. I think this alpha test gameplay is a little dark, but we also have an issue with binding the button input. Hey, thank you so much. I'll mod Joe. Wait, didn't I do that yesterday? I already did that, didn't I, Sharky? One sec. One moment. No, you are a mod. He is a mod. Oh, Danger. Adam Smith. I'm thinking about Lazy. Modded. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So now let's just let's fix this little game system. Nope, game engine. Oof. Testing UI. Nope. The alpha test gameplay message. Alpha message, game object. It's called background. And I only want it to be 50% visible so that you can still see stuff behind it. Okay. Cool. So now we need to check what is going on with the testing UI. Why isn't the modal being hooked up correctly? Continue ribbon. Forward is not set to anything. And I assume that I've got that hooked up correctly and that continue ribbon is the... Oh... Focus is continuing. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So then testing UI modal. Maybe add listener was wrong. These are Unity events. Is it a coroutine thing? When I have this button here, these are the events, right? And when I do this, that's a listener for the event, right? So why can't I do that at runtime? Because I'm declaring it as well. That's okay, right? Oh no, I can't declare it as new. I have to remove all listeners. That's the only way to do it. If I make it new, then it'll break the reference, I guess. Because it's not being the thing that's invoking it is not going to call it if I call it new there. So that doesn't seem right either. Hang on a second. It's still wrong. Why is it still wrong? Does anybody know the answer to this question? I have this thing called, it's a script called UI Focus. It's got a bunch of events. When you press a button, well, I don't need any serialized ones to be there because I'm adding new events there, but the new events aren't showing up. Ooh, I'm actually doing different things here. You know what? I'd take it back. I don't think I'm gonna change it at runtime. I think I'll just have a script called forward, and I'll change what forward does depending on an internal variable. It's too fiddly. There's a better way to do this. I think I want a var that is a function. And then I want to say continue action equals continue equals close menu. Can I do that? Or is it .invoke? Is that how that works? If I just make a var, oh, it doesn't let me do that. How do I do this? Like, this is a bit JavaScripty, but I want like a function that I call, like I want to set a function variable so that I can tell that function to be a different function depending on some code that runs. Is it like this? But I need like using system like that. Yeah, and then I take away the brackets here. There we go. There we go. I think that's how that works. I don't do that functional programming stuff. It's not, that ain't me, but I am aware of the way the kids do it. Ah, there's one thing we forgot to do. That's in the testing UI, in the test modal, right here. This is now testing UI modal dot continue action. That's how the kids do it. Something happened. Hey, Neocoder. I've done a terrible job then, if you didn't know I have a stream, because it's in every description, but I know that I should be doing better. I probably should mention it at like the top of the stream. If you keep saying "da kids," I'm unsubbing. The kids don't like being called the kids. I have a problem. I can't stop using actions. You're older than me? Are you older than me? By much? I thought you were the same. Oh, by 5 days. Oh. Sorry. I mean, I do mention it in the videos. I guess I just don't mention it enough. It's in every single credits, I think. And it's in every description, but only at the beginning of some videos. I should say it. In the vlogs, it's there. Anyway, doesn't matter. So let's have a look. Did I set this up correctly? Oh yeah, it's there. Oh, this doesn't work? Because I haven't done anything with it yet. But that's weird because the only reason this is open is because I did this. Have I done this wrong? Do I need to do plus? How do I do this? Do I do that rather than invoke? Because it looks like it's not set to anything, but it should be. I mean, yeah, no Gucci. Like the only way that this can even appear is if we opened the menu first. And if we opened the menu, then we opened it under one of these conditions. We should always be opening the menu as the last thing we do. Gucci, my main. See ya, Neocoder. I don't want them to stack up, I just want them to override. But it shouldn't be null. And I know that it's not null. Weirdly. Right? Because it should... I mean, if I'm clear, the only reason we're seeing the modal is if I set continue action to be close menu. If it's a race condition from startup to initializing this testing modal.cs, you can null coalesce. But it's not that, because I don't think so. I'm just going to recompile and see what happens. First time viewer here following crumbs from Thor's stream. Hey, welcome. I'm not entirely sure if I want to pursue a career in developing, but I really enjoy working on computers and making things work. I looked at UX design, but I see the job demand will have strict expectations from applicants. This seems a bit daunting. Any tips on where to start? That's a great question. Welcome. And thank you, Thor. So I think, look, UX design is, to me, I find that it was a very fulfilling career to begin down. So for me, if I wasn't so passionate about game development, I'd be doing UX, because I was doing UX and I was quite enjoying it. It's just that I have such a thing about games that I didn't want to live my life not having explored game development as a career option. But UX was like a very surprising thing that I found, because it's very similar to game design. You're basically doing the same thing, which is you're making decisions on behalf of a user or player in service of their experience. You're trying to use your empathy and use the science to understand people, to understand what their needs and expectations are, and to meet those needs using a process that involves creative thinking and problem solving. And at the end of it, you get to have made something. So it was very rewarding for me. The challenges that I had with it as a career were mostly around working in an agency and just businesses. You know, sometimes in a business, you have clients, you have deadlines. Sometimes a project never really gets the opportunity to be explored in the way that it ought to be. So that, because I really value solving the problems, sometimes, office politics mean that you just have to put something out there and sell it to the client and make them feel good about it, whether or not it's good. So that kind of bothered me a little bit, but I don't think that was a problem with UX. I think that was a problem with just the environment that I was working in at an agency. As far as getting educated and qualified to be a UX designer, I would say the demand for UX is quite high. I actually think that UX is kind of like an undersupplied career right now. Like, as an industry, being good at UX is very, very sought after. If you actually know your stuff, you will make the difference between like a company, if they're a software company, like succeeding and failing, because ultimately, and it's something where you may have to prove your worth a little bit, because the gains that a good UX designer puts in a company that's making software as if it was like an engine. The UX designer is like the oil, right? So in order for stuff to be meaningful and to get value out and to actually be worthwhile doing, building features, selling the software and whatever it is, in order for all of that to make sense, it all has to come back to the user, right? So it's like you're making something that people find valuable, that they pay for, that gives you more money to put more money into the thing so that you can keep making it. If you don't have good UX, then the connection between that link, there's friction that just stops it from going as fast. So you could be making features that people don't want, or not making features that people want. And your ability to find what people need and give it to them is, and articulate that in a way that developers can understand. That's super valuable. So that's not going away. As far as getting credentials for UX, I think today universities do a pretty good job of it. And I would say there are colleges where you can get certifications and specific like UX boot camps that are around if you want to upskill from some adjacent industry, like adjacent career, like project management. Like if you are a project manager and you want to get into UX, you can kind of take a shortcut through an intensive program. Or if you're like a UI designer and you want to get into UX, that's possible as well. Like a BA, business, like if you basically work with the product every day and you work with the people who work on the product, that's a good way to sort of sidestep. And then outside of that, I mean, the startup scene isn't bad, but you'll need to show that you can actually do the work. Yeah, it's really about, and UX also can be very, very broad. When I'm talking about UX, like the UX that I did was not like deciding, like, hang on, we'll go zoom for this. So the UX that I would do was not just the button should be here, the button should say this, give me a nice layout for a very straightforward app. Like that wasn't what we were doing. UX design, I mean, that would typically be like UI design. Like a UI designer would decide like the shape and size of the button. The UX design would be more like what features should exist and how should the user be able to find those features? What kinds of interfaces should the features have? We would do layouts like to a degree, but UX is not layouts. UX is like deeper than layouts. And it spans from the beginning of a project, so like research, conducting surveys and focus testing and stakeholder interviews with the actual clients themselves. So a business looking to, engage in UX to help their company move in a better way. Maybe they've got an online store that's just not doing very well. You're engaging with them and interviewing them about understanding their needs as a business. That's UX too, So you do all that, and then you do concepting and prototyping. So I would actually build prototypes, and I would test them. So I would actually hire people, recruit people to come in. We would give them an interview about their experience as a user. Oftentimes these were real users of the software or the services that we were doing the UX for. So at one point we did something with like a betting agency who were they did like horse racing and like sports betting. And we actually had real customers of the sports betting agency come in and test out a prototype that we'd built to do like a picture-in-picture in-browser pop-up to watch the sports while you were betting. I don't know, it was something like that. But it was interesting learning about the actual people who are going to be using the thing and getting their impressions on the work in progress, concepts we were making. So, writing up the testing criteria, walking them through it, getting their feedback, and then using that feedback and doing actual, science research on, okay, you know, statistically speaking, people preferred this kind of implementation over this implementation. People struggled at these specific pain points. What do we need to do to iterate on that and to make those pain points less painful? That's UX, you know. And then we would do design documentation. So the developers would need to be able to read something to know what to build. They'd need to know exactly how everything worked, what was hooked up to what, how it operated, edge cases, fallbacks, like all that stuff. I would write the documentation for all of that as well. This included stuff like we were doing a lot of airline interfaces. So when you're on a plane, actually, if you watch Spider-Man No Way Home, there is a scene where they get on a United flight, and at the seat back, on all of the seats, is an entertainment system that I designed, or I helped design. Like my team of like 3 or 4 people, we built that system. As far as the design goes, Panasonic implemented it, but yeah, it's cool. Like that project I did. Oh, and it wasn't for No Way Home. It's on actual United Airlines planes, but it happens to be in the movie because they take those flights in the movie. But yeah, no, like in real life, we designed those UIs, and I probably should have led with that, right? One of the things that I spent like a month on was accessibility, like literally just the mapping for people with vision impairment. So the way that people who are vision impaired use their phones is basically like a browser tab order. So if you're in the browser and you start hitting tab like this, you'll notice that different elements get lit up one by one. On phones, that's like it's basically an evolution of that system, is how blind people use their phones. And they have like a screen reader that reads out each of the elements as they're working. So, you know, you can swipe left and right to go forward and back through an interface, and you can swipe up and down to go up, you know, at a level of abstraction. And I spent like 2 months making all of the mappings for the United Airline accessibility mode. I don't know if we got it right, and I think that accessibility modes are like really, really difficult to get right, especially because it wasn't an Android-based system. It was based on Qt, if you know what that is. It's like a Linux thing. It's very dated software, firmware, that the software is being built on. So you kind of had to do your best shot at that stuff. But yeah. Yeah, the UI framework is kind of like super low level stuff for, well, I don't know. I don't even know what those things were running on, but they could do barely anything. And you'd have to design. What's crazy is we would have to design the systems for brand new, top of the line Android seat back entertainment hardware for first class. And then we would have to design the exact same system for economy class, which are using like 25-year-old monitors called geodes, they're called, which were running like this really clunky old system. They couldn't do animation. Like you couldn't have UI animation in them. So like, they're the ones where you're tapping and nothing's happening. If you've used those, the resistive touchscreens. We would have to design the same UI for both of them, which was not particularly easy to do. They'd be like, make it look good on both. Oh yeah, first class like hardware is great. They're running like current like Android tablets basically, and a lot of the time they'll like disconnect out of the seat side. Like first class is amazing, especially if you go on like Emirates. Like I never really got to fly on any of this stuff while we were doing. this kind of thing. But my team leader, our like project lead, he would get to go on the planes, and he would get to like actually, you know, enjoy these things. But yeah, like stuff like this, you're getting like really, really nice. Ice is okay. Ice is okay. This is a little older. That was around back in like 2013. I think we might have worked on that. But yeah, like it's very like, you know, personalized and custom. And Emirates is really good. Qatar was really good too. From memory. I think I did a little bit of work with Qatar. And then we did Qantas. Qantas was actually really nice. Qantas is great. It's probably one of the better seatback entertainment systems. That's ours. I didn't get to say that, but someone who got paid more than I did got to do that. Hey, Namwab, you should stick around, Justin, because that's all we're doing at the moment. Yeah, this was a really good system. Like you could pretty much browse it the way you would expect to. It was quite intuitive, gave you pretty good access to all of the plane's features, and had a nice little notification tray. I mean, it's very similar to something like it kind of reminds me of Windows Metro, like Windows 8, but like what that was supposed to be. And obviously United. So this was just some of the stuff that we would do. This was the welcome screen that we worked on. Yeah. We designed this. I designed this thing right here. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Not too bad. It was fun to be able to get on that kind of a project. But it wasn't always a success. We had big fails too. We did a giant project for Rogers in Canada, and it was the biggest epic fail you could ever imagine. It was so bad because so Rogers is a Canadian company. They're like a telco / broadcasting company, like Fox, I guess, or AT&T kind of thing. And we landed this huge project with them to basically overhaul their entire entertainment, like TVOD broadcasting interface suite. So like the set-top box UI, you know, like if you want to watch cable, that on the TV, and also on the tablet and phone, and also on the web, like all the on-demand, all the let me repeat that, all the on-demand, all the live broadcasting stuff. We were going to be redesigning all of it from scratch, and we got like months through this. We had them out. They came over to Australia. We did a bit of schmoozing. We did some intensive design workshops. We went like we did the full gamut of like the design process with them. And they were so happy for like maybe the first 2 months. And then it started getting a little weird. So Rogers is a Canadian company, but the project lead on their side, the product owner, was American, and he was Texan. I don't know if he was born there, but like definitely was raised there, because he was like very very gung-ho about having his way. And unfortunately, not to say anything bad about Americans, but our project lead was also American, and the two of them hated each other. They absolutely did not get on. So it was so bad. Those two fought so much over the project that our guy, we had to promise to take our guy off the project, and he was really nice. He was like actually one of the people I really looked up to as a mentor, and like really nice guy. But they just hated each other, and we just couldn't. The project crawled to a halt because like we couldn't get anything approved at some point. The guy just was one of those people who was like a bit on an ego trip, and he liked to say no and to like complain. He's one of those people, you know, they go to a restaurant and they complain like the food's no good after they've eaten it, kind of thing. That kind of guy. And you know, he'd say yes to things, and then he'd walk it back and say, I never said yes to that. And we're like, we've got it in an email, you approved this work. So eventually they literally scrapped the whole project, millions of dollars, and they went with some off-the-shelf solution. So that happens too. You don't always get to do the best work, or even if you're doing work that you think is good, it doesn't always get to see the light of day, unfortunately. Hey, Nutroeno, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. Welcome. Hey, I just want to jump off for 1 second. I'm not even going to do like an ad or a be right back. I'll literally be right back. 1 sec. Okay, I'm back. This project ain't big enough for the two of us. It was like that. Our guy wasn't Texan though. He was from Massachusetts. A little gun-ho. I mean, look, neither of them were like bad guys. They just had like I don't know. He was just a little entitled. We treated him too well. I think we spoiled him, trying to suck up, and he took that as a chance to like, you know, do a power play. Delicate stuff. So, what's going on? Are we able to get this working? Oh, it works now. Oh, that's so weird. So invoke was the wrong way to go about it, apparently. The client on a major UX UI design project that I worked on way back in the day. The client was it was terrible. There you go. It works. I got other stories. There is another story, and I could probably tell you this story now that the company that I work for doesn't exist. At least the team doesn't. I know I might still be under NDA. Am I? The last big project that I worked on not long ago was for we won't tell. Was for like a major like game studio for their esports division. We were working on their broadcast offering. So like a huge product that this very large company is releasing soon to cover all of their esports suite, I guess. So, you know, all of their games all of the matches across the world. You'll be able to watch them on this platform. And I was on that project part-time while I've been working on Insignia. I've been on that in the last 18 months, a bit on and off, helping with some of the UX for the... Does it rhyme with lizard or wizard? It doesn't rhyme with lizard. But it might rhyme with... In fact, I hope this isn't a... I hope this isn't... I hope this isn't an accent thing, but it might rhyme with that word. Yeah! No, it wasn't Blizzard. That's not... Pirate Software and I aren't linked that way. Activision, yeah! Okay. So... Did I actually get that text right? Nice. Yeah, I actually got this working. Hooray. I'm not a Blizzard wizard. No, I've never worked with Blizzard. I don't think I've worked with Blizzard. But Hyatt were really, really nice. Actually, some of the best clients we ever worked with. No joke, that project almost... If Insignia wasn't my baby, if I wasn't like really, really, really committed to this and the stream and you guys, maybe I wouldn't be here right now. Because I would have loved to have kept on that project. It was a really, really, really good project. And the people that we worked with were so helpful and so like understanding and on board and trusting with the process. And just nice people, just super chill, no dramas. Totally good with communication. Just good people. And the campus that they work at that company is... It's really nice. But I've got a different life here that's a bit more... I got other priorities. Okay, so... let's think about the size of that modal is too big. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, this is a little too big. I don't think we need this much text, kind of like ever. So let's just squeeze it down. Maybe like 80. Yeah, cool. And then this continue ribbon can be just like a little further up to like there. Nice, and then you get through the level, and then you finish. Cool. That's so good. I built the alpha. Okay, and then testing, player control test. Consider how the platforming consider the following. As you play. So giving them a heads up about what to pay attention to. Controls. Movement, feel. Camera. And let's make this text left aligned, I think. Is probably for the best. And the title too, why not? Pretty good. I should be using a content fitter for this. I think that's usually the way to go. With like a horizontal, like a vertical thing. He invented League of Legends. I did not invent League of Legends. But you know what? I would have loved to one day, like outside of the indie game Insignia bubble that I'm in right now, I would love to work on like a Project L, like a fighting game. Something like that would be super fun. Or just as like a game director in general. I think that would be so fun. So let's do a vertical layout group. Let's not force expand any of the elements. Let's go upper left. That's really annoying, isn't it? Can I go full width? I don't want to control any of that element of the children. Okay, I'll just manually do it then. And then spacing goes a little bit like that. And then content size fitter. Vertical fit, preferred size. And then this text, I want this to be as big as the text is. I don't think I've done that right though. Does this need the content size fitter? I never know. Yeah, there we go. Preferred size. And then this. Maybe this also needs the content size fitter? Just keep going until we figure it out. It's alright, pals. We'll just keep going till we get it. So now, test modal. No, that should be unconstrained. This should be preferred size, right? And this should be in the center. Min size, preferred size, nope. If I make it unconstrained and I set the height to be taller, so how do I make it? Day 2 of asking Adam if I should get a drawing tablet as a programmer who can't draw a stick figure but wants to make games. Hey, software tools. I think that if you're interested in learning drawing, then yes, you should use one. And if you're interested in doing like a lot of pixel art, you should get one. If you're not going to do a lot of pixel art and you're just doing like programmer art, it might not be that worth it for you to learn it. But if you have like a background in drawing, if you sketch a lot and you want to get into pixel art and you're going to be doing a lot of pixel art, it's way better than a mouse. So it's mostly about ergonomics and efficiency. Starter tablet. The tablet that I recommend to basically everybody is this one. This is the Wacom Intuos Small. It's wired. It doesn't have batteries. Pen comes out like this. It's very lightweight. It's got a small area, which I think is better. Don't get fooled. Having a large drawing area is not necessarily better because you're going to have to be moving your hand around a lot to reach the corners of the screen. If it's a small area, you can reach the whole screen just with the movement of your wrist. So for my money, that's actually my tablet. I actually have a larger tablet that I don't use. Instead, I use this one. And I take it on the go with me. I put it with my laptop and have it sitting on the keyboard while I draw. So that's about 100 AUD, 120 AUD, like 100 USD or 80 USD, depending on where you get it from. And there are cheaper ones, but the quality goes down. Like Huion makes tablets that are up to like, there's one that's like $25. I think it's called the Huion 420. And I've got one, but it's like garbage. Like it takes a AAA battery to make the pen work. The pen has drift in the corners. So if you're not being very careful, it goes a little bit faster around the edges and slips off the screen. It's just like a little, if you really don't want to spend money, you just want to try using a tablet, you can get something that cheap. But they also have higher fidelity tablets too. That's just the cheapest one. What do I think about a tablet with a monitor? I tell you what. I think tablets with monitors, like the Cintiq monitors, are overkill. I don't really get it. Granted, the last time I used one was many, many years ago. And I only used it for a little bit. Although, hang on, I've got a Surface Pro and I used that. I started Insignia on a Surface Pro. Let me be clear. I started Insignia on this. And I would draw the pixel art on this, and I would do everything on it. It's not bad to work on something like this. It's not a bad experience, but it's kind of a little bit. Let me tell you the downsides from my perspective. The first thing is it gets hot, right? Your hand gets hot touching a screen that has a processor under it with a fan or whatever. Like there's stuff going on in there. It's like a GPU. It's doing all kinds of stuff. It's hot. That's the first thing. Second thing is there'll always be this much drift between or separation between the cursor and your actual pen tip, right? There's always just going to be the smallest amount. I think the iPads and the most recent Surface Pros are pretty good. They're like almost imperceptible, but whatever. The third thing is, do you really want your hand blocking the thing that you're drawing on? If you value that real estate, well, maybe this is better, because with this, your hand is down here and you're never blocking what you're looking at. So that's the distinction. I really like the Surface line. I wished these things got better and better. Like, I would love to get a new Surface Pro. The Surface laptops, you know, they're okay too. My wife's got one, or she used to have one. No, she has one now, but she used to have a Studio. No, she had a Surface Book. That's what she had. The book was too heavy. It was too heavy. That was the problem with it. It was so cool, but it was too heavy and you never disconnected it. It just wasn't worth it. But the laptops, I think they're really cool looking. Like, I love the black ones. This kind of thing. I'd love to have one of these. They're just not power horses. They don't really work for game dev. Unless you're doing like super light stuff. I think these days, like the M2 MacBook is probably better for that. If you really want to do like, you know, work on the go, something like this is probably better. Even if like I'm not particularly into Mac OS, but you know, these are just really, really good processors. They're just really good and really power efficient. Whereas I don't think Intel's really caught up yet. Apparently in the next generation, this year, October this year, you might see some really, really good Surface devices. But they haven't really innovated like I wanted them to in the last couple of years. Maybe since the Surface Pro 5? It's the same. It's just like the same device every year. It just looks like that. You know, it's the dream. Like this with like a really good keyboard. They'll get it one day, but it needs to be light enough. It's like you need something super thin and light that has a detachable keyboard that has 20 hours of battery life and can do video editing and game development. Like maybe 5 years from now, those things will converge. You'll be able to do all of that on a small, like there was a point in time actually where Ultrabooks were like insane. Like 2011 Ultrabooks were like for the day. And this always happens, right? You get this stupid thing where like, you know, the power of computers goes like, you know, like this. And then the software that computers are expected to run on goes like this. So like until, you know, there's a point in time where like everyone expects, hang on a second, let me see if I can break this up. Let's just do it like this. It's probably not really like this, but you get the idea. There was a point in time in like right around 2011 where you could get, how do I do this? Maybe it's more like a wave. It's probably better to say it like that. There was a point in time in like 2011 when the average Ultrabook right here where the average Ultrabook could do everything you would want to do with a computer. It was like amazing. It was just like for these. I had friends at uni who were like walking around with these like tiny, thin and light things for the day, and they were running like the most recent. They were running. What's that game? It starts with. I think it starts with D. It's a first-person stealth game set in steampunk environment, whatever. You steal powers off of people. It wasn't like a Bioshock. It was like a Bioshock though. It was kind of like Dishonored. That's the game. Yeah, I had friends running Dishonored on Ultrabooks, and I'm like, what the hell are people running these like new games on these tiny laptops? It's the future. And then the hardware requirements for games got higher because new stuff kept coming out, and I feel like we're always in this race. And I think right around here, like we're just now at the point where like if you have like the M1, M2 chips on the Apple stuff and the new Intel stuff that's coming out, it's just about there again. It's just about there where you can get the power and the efficiency for battery life, and you get to do whatever you want. It's like no compromises. But it'll be short-lived. The same thing happened with iPhones. Do you guys remember how good iPod Touches were when they first came out? Like, for those of you who were like around in like 2008, 2009, the first iPhone was mind-blowing. Like the idea that a phone could do animations the way that the iPhone could do them and the iPod Touch, it was like nothing. No software or hardware combination could do inertial scroll like those things could do. Like, and even today, you know, like on the web, scrolling isn't as nice as first generation iPhone. Like you would think 15 years later, everything would feel buttery smooth all the time, 60 frames per second at least. You know, you would think that, but it's just that constant push and pull between like hardware requirements and hardware performance, where it's just good enough is always good enough. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like, I couldn't believe the first time a friend of mine at high school, I'll tell you, it was so crazy that in high school, my friend who had an iPod Touch, we would sit in class and we would play a game to see who could fling down his music list, his iPod list, the furthest. It was so impressive that you could scroll with your finger like that we made a game out of that, and we occupied ourselves during free periods scrolling on his phone, not doing anything, just scrolling on it. Like that. That's how revolutionary it was. It's like, I got it all the way to M. Like, I got it to O. We were just scrolling through the list, seeing how far we could get in one swipe. I am a UX designer. Who could throw their Nokia phone the furthest? Anyway. That's how it was, you know? Hey, Robo, let's do it. I'm ready now. You can see I'm not that fixated on getting stuff right today. I don't know why that's not doing that though. Why is that not working? You would think that this thing would fit to the size of the contents. Oh well, I'll just go back until it works again. It doesn't have to be that pretty, it just needs to work. Okay, I just want to make sure this works, and then we can upload it, and you guys can tell me what you think. Okay, good. I'll commit that. So, Robo, do you have like somewhere where I can find your game? DM to Steam key. Oh, a Steam key. Oh, I shouldn't complain, but I don't always like doing that. But it's all good. Don't bother with me. Did you DM a Steam key? Because I didn't get any DMs. It's all right. It's totally good. It's fine. It just takes a little longer, and then I've got a bigger library, but it's not. Ah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sulking about it, but it's totally fine. No, I got you. All good. Just starting into Steam. Hey, Jackaras. It does have controller support. Yeah. So what's this game called? Sorry, I just missed it. Something... Bandits? Trash Bandits? Oh! Was this a jam game that Did I play a jam version of this? Maybe not. Okay. All good. Let's kill the music for a sec. And I'll hit play. And when it launches, we'll go back to the other scene. Okay. Trash Bandits. Trash Bandicoot. This build of Trash Bandits contains a limited amount of content and features and uses some placeholder assets. Hey, that's like me. I'm making an alpha like that. Okay. Not representative of the final product. Probably has some bugs. Thank you for playing. Let's play. Slot 1. Or empty. Do I press a button? There we go. It was a Wednesday. This is so cool. I love the little descend. Squonks. Water. Whoa. A and D to move. Oh my goodness. I can't play this game. I love your little tooltips on the side. That's so cool. Is that just a GIF? Is it a PNG sequence? Oh. Ground pound. Okay. Look at these graphics, man. The CRT filter's an interesting choice. I think it works in this case. I like the power lines and everything. Oh. Fancy squonk. Is that Mario Brothers 3? Wait, I can't. Oh. Wait a second. Can I just... Was it faster to do the roll? Kinda. Oh, I can hold it with shift. We're celesting. Okay, my early feedback. I know I'm gonna get flack for this, but there's so much going on with my left hand right now. Did I miss what shift does? Maybe I misread that. Is there a tooltip that I misunderstood? Must be go. Oh no, here it is. Hold towards wall or shift, and then W to climb. Okay, I was just holding space. He's been bought out by Big Arrow Key. Yeah, I just don't... I don't know. I'm just not that... I mean, I guess I did play Overwatch competitively, so I shouldn't... It shouldn't be that bad. I think it's just... Don't worry about it. I'm just not a WSD guy. WASD guy. Sneed. Some feedback on this text box. I like it in general. I like the concept, but I feel like the amount of wonk is a little bit... It kind of makes me not... I think it's the different pixel scales. I get that that's how it is, because those are your characters, but the off-kilter lines and then the different font sizes and the different font types and then the different sprite sizes makes it hard for me to think, like, to see, oh yeah, like this is Charles and this is what he said. I kind of have to go, whoa, because like, is this Charles? Is that? There's just a lot going on. It's a bit Smash Brothers, you know. I don't dislike it aesthetically. It's just a lot. Ooh. That was a fun little sound effect. That was really nice. This is I mean, it's really, oh, left, oh, okay. Now you've justified WASD. Now it makes sense to have WASD. As soon as you incorporate the mouse, I'm okay. Nice implementation too. You've done really well. So it's really polished. So many little touches. I like it. Oh, do they go gray until you hit the ground? Yeah, that makes sense. That's such a game designer thing. It makes complete sense to me. Oh, and the little refresh. You've put a lot of time and energy into this. I'm really, I find it, you know, like the level of polish is what I would expect, you know, from a finished game. Like the little sparkle when it replenishes, it's good. I'm not sure how I feel about the warpy space dilation, but you're doing a good job. It's very Celeste so far. That is just waiting to be a secret area. I think it's interesting. The Celeste comment for me, it's obviously derivative, but I don't think that that's going to hurt this game because I don't think that its marketability is necessarily. It's not. I mean, it's got its own visual style in such a way that you could almost think of Celeste as like a genre thing. Like this is just that kind of platformer where you have springs and you have, you know, wall climbs with the stamina and you have, you know, all those different mechanics that make that game that game. Do you know what though, I will say? So far, I like almost everything about the game. It's super polished. It's pretty cute. I think it's marketable. I think you could get an audience to play this for sure. I'm not sure like where it goes from here, but I'm on board. The one thing that's kind of taking me out is I think the music feels a little generic. It's kind of fun. It's kind of funky, but it's like a little bit like, why have we got this kind of upbeat kind of funk in this environment? Like tonally, I'm not sure if I'm following yet. Sorry, I'm just going to skip through this for a bit. Just to see how much it shifts. Cans of conch. That's good. I mean I like it. There seems to be like the tone I'm getting a sense of, but it might be something that you have to set up with like like a bit of story, a bit of a cutscene, something. There is, I guess there's like a city vibe, but the head bonk sound. Oh, I'm so close. I don't know why I want to do that, but I do. Oh, that was cool. There's a little bit of a slowdown. You get to keep some of your momentum. It's so YouTube. I don't know why it's so funny. It really bothers me that I disconnect every time I try to do that. Ah! Ah! I'm so close. Okay. And there's nothing here. Is there a setting to turn off the filter? Interesting. Okay, nothing here. Oh, E, I can drive this thing? Okay, maybe not. Little world map, it's cute. Oh, I see, it's like Mario 3 a little bit, but there's a hub. How did I do that? Right mouse. Oh, that would have helped me a lot 10 seconds ago. Cans of conch. I can see where you're going with this, and I totally get it, and I'm fully, you know, I'm here for it. For me, does it have controller support? I'm imagining no. Oh, yes it does. But how would I do the grabbing? Okay. I can do the grip, but I can't. How do I? I can't swing. X is grapple. Oh, okay. Oh, that's pretty good. Way better. Well, it's actually north face button on this controller, but that's all good. Oh, I don't know what that was. I think I hit a kill zone by falling off the screen too quickly. I like this little like extended vertical thing that you get. That's cool. It feels good. It feels about right. I'm not sure I'm getting that right though. Ah, there we go. Okay. Oh, I got it wrong. Okay. I think I've played probably enough. I'm definitely still having to get used to it. Oh my god, I'm so bad. Oh, that is just the worst. But it's probably my fault. Nice. That's even... It's very Celeste. Here's your conch. Yeah. I think if I rebound the buttons... Oh, these are keyboard buttons. Okay. Nice. The screen shake, like there's a lot of cool stuff. What the heck? There's a lot of cool stuff here. It's really nice. Cool. Thanks for sharing. Man, I thought that was like pretty solid, to be honest with you. It felt like there's a lot of depth in the gameplay that I'm going to have to get better at. That was Trash Bandits. Let me see if I can... Yeah, this is the game we're talking about. Yeah, I thought there was like a lot in there to like. I could see that there's a lot of love and depth in the feedback and the design. It definitely doesn't feel random. It feels like every level's trying to teach me something. Like structurally, no issues. As far as like marketability and stuff, I think it's pretty good. I'd like to get a little bit more with the dialogue. One thing I will say, and maybe it's because this is like an alpha beta test thing or like early access. If I'm going to read a lot about characters, I kind of want a reason to care about them first. And I know that that's probably not the focus of this game. It feels a little bit like we're a guy, we're on the job, we're just sort of doing what we do. But I would like to see a little bit more reason to care. Like, does the raccoon owe someone a debt? Like, what is his motivation for doing the things? And if I have that, if I know why he's doing what he's doing, then I can start caring about his relationship with the other characters and whether or not he needs them for blah, blah, blah. Like, the story can still be a story, you know? So I'm sure there is a story, but I have this theory that if I'm spamming through text, it's not because I don't like reading, because I like to read, but I want to know. I guess players are urgent to get back to, they're usually anxious to get to the important parts of the game, and a game's job in that first 5 minutes is to establish what's important. And in the game that I just played, a lot of what it seemed was really important was getting me familiar with the controls, which makes perfect sense. But to the extent that the dialogue existed, I didn't need to read it seemed like I didn't need to read the dialogue to understand what the game was asking of me very much. But I don't think that should incentivize you to make less dialogue or to make it more accessible. I think dialogue shouldn't be accessible if it has a purpose and if you want people to stay engaged. It's just about how you introduce it. Like the dialogue in Celeste is I never skipped it. Because it was always kind of presented in a time and place that I was prepared to care. You didn't do a bad job of it. It wasn't bad. It was good, but I would keep applying that critical. There is a bit of front loading in the game scenario. A lot of what's being front loaded is like operational stuff. It's like you need to know this stuff to know how to get through the level, and that's fine. But you're also slipping in characterization, which is also fine. It wasn't bad. Some of that stuff, you know, like when he was like, do you really need to call me right now? Like, you know, can you just not call me until later? And the other guy's like, I get it. You don't like to talk to me anyway. That is good dialogue. But because it was kind of presented at the back end of like a cutscene where I kind of felt like I got what I needed to get out of the cutscene, I think, from memory. It wasn't presented in a time and space where I felt like, oh, I need to be paying attention because I need to know what's happening here, or I care about who this is. Like, the rat wasn't on screen, he was in the phone, so it was kind of like, it felt accessible in that moment. And that's fine too. I mean, you can have disposable dialogue. There's nothing wrong with that either. I guess that's just a thought that I'm having about whether or not you want people to be really paying attention. You can have levels as well. Like I've got unskippable cutscene moments, and I've got parts where you can skip through it pretty quickly. And then I've got optional characters who you don't need to talk to at all. You're doing a good job overall of that stuff, so I know that you know what I'm talking about. But just something that I'm flagging. Okay? Cool. So the alpha should be built now, and whoever's wanting to play that can play that now. I think from here, what have we got left to do? So that's done now. Hooray. Yeah, you're doing a good job, Robo. Like, I don't think you're doing a bad job. I think people will like the game. For sure. How do we access the alpha? Right now, the only way to access it is with... I think this should work on Twitch at least. We're kind of... This is the thing. Oh, sorry, Lazy. With the alpha, it's kind of like... I don't know if I want too many people playing it, but if you happen to be here in the stream... Do you know what? I can fix this. One sec. Don't worry. I got this under control. What the heck is happening? The Everything app is just closing by itself every time I open it. What is happening right now? Okay. I guess I can't use everything today. It's just closing automatically. No, there's a better way to do this. Don't worry about it. There is a better way, and I will do it. You can do that, that's fine. But I need to do something. If I can find the thing that I'm looking for. I don't even remember what I called this thing now. This. into this, into okay, there you go. Now you can ask for the password, but at least you'll know where the URL is. It's right here. All right. Cool. So I'm going to take a break. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Yo, YouTube gang, we're going to try our first ad today. We tried it yesterday, it wasn't working, but today we're going to try it. So let me know if you get an ad in just a little bit. Same with Twitch. If you're not subscribed and you don't have an ad block on, please let me know if the ad plays, because it's supposed to. So thank you for helping me out. The ads support the stream. Catch you in a little bit. Yo, we're back. Did everything work? Did the ads run? Do I use Twine to make the interactions? No, I didn't use Twine. I make my own system. Not on YouTube, still. Wait, did anything run? You should have gotten about 60 seconds worth. That's what it says. I only got one ad. Not you on Twitch. Twitch has its own ad system, but on YouTube, something should have run. Don't tell him the ads didn't work. I mean, there would have been nothing to see anyway. It's not like you're missing content. Well, that sucks. Well, we'll have to try again another time. All right. Let's fix a bug, shall we? You can get up a ledge facing the wrong direction. That's no good, is it? It's like that. You can do that, and you shouldn't be able to do that. Not that it's very possible to do that, but in some scenarios it kind of is. Though I'm not sure if there's an easy way to check which way the thing is facing. It's mostly obvious in scenarios like this. This is a new level, and in this level you can get up from the wrong side in this context. So if I jump up this, I'm grabbing on the ledge, but I'm grabbing onto nothing. Well, I'm grabbing on the ledge, but from the wrong side. So the problem is ledges don't have directions in this game. And previously you would never have run into this scenario because this would have been a solid wall. But for this space, it's a bit different. Yeah. It's okay to land on the edges of bridge connections. It's okay to scramble in general. Like if I drop here, you know, that's okay, because that's still a ledge. Like if you were jumping and you made it to there, that's okay. It's mostly just facing the wrong way in times like this that I don't want to do. So the check would be something like this. Let's have a think. Right now, the ledge is just a rectangle, and the rectangle doesn't know anything about the way it's facing. The player doesn't know any way that the rectangle is facing. So we need to maybe give them facing directions. I think we need to hard code them. If crossing x-axis from below, do not grab. But how does it know what crossing is? Do you know what I mean? Like what is the distinction digitally? Like ignore the graphics of what's happening here. It's a box. The box doesn't know if we're approaching from the wrong side or the right side because the box doesn't know that it's on a ledge. So I need to program the box to say that it's a left box or a right box. Hey, Faded Gaming, thank you so much for the sub. Sorry I missed that. And Justin Bowman, thank you so much for the sub as well. Yeah, I think I just need to say left ledge, right ledge. Like ledge L, ledge R. Crossing the collision box, but you're not crossing it, you're touching it. You're going to be from over here and you're coming across it. There's no distinction between touching and crossing. It's the same thing. Like if the ledge was maybe this long, maybe we could talk about it like that. But the ledge is just it's basically a rectangle. So I think this is the only way to do it. I think it's just ledge R, ledge L. I use something called pretzel. Man, I'm in this argument with somebody on Reddit right now. Pretzel? No, pretzel. PR. I'm in this argument with somebody on Reddit, and it's really bothering me. I should probably not be bringing it up here on stream, but it's so annoying. Yeah, I'm like that. I get caught up in that kind of stuff. By God. So this argument, it's about Street Fighter. Street Fighter has this thing in it. I hope they're not watching the stream. Mate, if you're watching the stream, you've lost it, buddy. You got no idea. All right. This is the thing. I'll fill you in. And then I might have to go actually. Okay. Street Fighter has it works on frames, right? So each of these little boxes represents a moment in time for the game. The animations, the inputs, they work on frames. And there's 60 of these per second. Okay. When you press a button in the game, it gets registered in the frame, against that frame, like the jump button. Right, you press the jump button, button gets actioned. There's a thing called a jump buffer, or an input buffer in the game, okay? And an input buffer's job is to check to see what button you pressed, even if you're not allowed to do that action right now. If the action happens within a certain amount of frames, we can kind of like let you have the action anyway, once you are allowed to do something. So let's just say that you are inactive for these frames, but you are active, you're free to move on this frame. If you push the button here, the buffer tells you basically how many frames this will persist. Okay? So in this situation, if you have a buffer that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames long, or even 5 frames long, pressing jump here will still yield a jump on this frame. Right, the jump will come out on this frame because the buffer is long enough to catch it. So say I'm knocked down right here, and I press jump, but my character is free to get back up here. The character will jump as long as this box or this box is green. Right? Even if it was like this. Okay, the buffer is still there. But here, the buffer ends before the frame where we're able to jump, so we won't get the jump in this case. Now, here's the thing. There is a feature in the game called Drive Rush. Okay, let's call this blue for now. Drive Rush is represented by, we'll call this green. And what Drive Rush does is it pauses the game, okay, for a number of frames while the other character dashes forward at you. They sort of have this green effect on them and then they dash forward. During that time, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 frames of buffer, okay? That the game time is paused. The characters can't move, but the buffer time continues. So in this scenario, where I used to be able to press jump here, this is now when the actual jump buffer would need to be for me to do the jump. Okay, so this means that I have to press jump at this point in order to see the jump come out, because they've done this move that's pushed, it's basically paused the game. It's basically like a lag. It's basically lagged the game. So the time when I would be free to move is now way later than it would be able to be, because what's happening now is the input buffer is basically eating through my input. I'm saying that nobody likes this. This sucks. It's shit. Like, you're playing the game, you press a button. Say a character's about to, like, say you think that their character is going to kick and you want to jump out of the way of the kick and then punish them as you come back down. In this scenario, you don't get to jump. You just stand there and take the hit like an idiot, even though you press the jump button, because they did this move. I'm saying that's dumb. This person on Reddit is saying that, oh, no, you should just be smart enough to notice this is happening and then press something else sometime later. But what we're talking about here is like 160 milliseconds of time. This happens in 160 ms. So it's kind of like sub-human reaction time. Normal human reaction time is like 180 to 200 on a good day, if you're expecting it. So like, this is happening at a speed where, like, if it happens, you're gonna get hit, mate. Like, it's not fun, but there are people defending this because this is how the game works right now. People do this all the time where they're just contrarians, right? They just like to defend the way that things are because they like to make other people feel bad for not liking them. It's so stupid. Do you know what I would do if this was me? At the end of Drive Rush, when this buffer is finished, all I do is I reset the buffer by that many frames. I just dig back in the buffer and I say, hey, were there any inputs that were done this far back that should have come out on this frame within this span? If there are, execute them now. That's what I would do. So I still get my jump when it's time for me to jump, because during this time the game is paused. These frames aren't really happening in the game. Like, the character's not moving, everyone's static. So like, in physics space, nothing's happened. 160 ms is noticeable, but what we're talking about is your ability to notice it and then do the correct response back, right? It's not, you have to also make a choice within that time. You can see it, but you can't do anything because you're already committed to pressing a different button. Like and fighting games do this, right? Where you have moments of rock, paper, scissors, right? It's moments of, now I have to make a decision. Now I have to make a decision. And your ability to tell when those decision points are in time is really, really important. That's why rollback netcode is so important. Rollback netcode says the game will play out as if nothing is wrong, so that your inputs get preserved in the timings when you input them. And if we can resolve those inputs without pausing the game, we will. That's why no one plays Smash Bros. Online unless they're playing Melee, because Melee has rollback netcode hacked in by the community. So you can solve this by just reading further back in the input buffer at the end of a drive rush. That's what you do. And if there are conflicting inputs, you pick the most recent one. That's it. That's all you have to do. But they haven't done it. And it's not like, it's uncontroversial. It's not like there's a better game on the other side. You know, it's not like some people think, oh, but the game's more fun if sometimes you press buttons and nothing happens. It's just dumb people arguing for no reason. Normalize frame perfect inputs. Maybe. All right. So I'm gonna try and solve this. Did I get these tags the way I want them to be? It got untagged. What? No tag? Oh, ledge L is not defined. Okay, I need to add the tag to the tag list. Ledge L, ledge R, and then do this and do that, and do this and do that. Okay, and then ledge control, tag. I'm going to have to check all three. How does Armin already know which way to face when grabbing the ledge? Based on the direction that he is on relative to the ledge. But that's a check to face the ledge, not a check to know which ledge he's facing. Rollback. ROLLBACK, rollback netcode. It's kind of an innovation since about 2013. Yeah. It's really good. It's basically revolutionized like fighting games recently. Like you can now play against somebody like if you have a stable connection, like multiple cities away. Where in the past they had to be pretty local to get a good connection. Even in different countries, like 120 ms is like bad, but at low skill level, it's not that bad. Whereas it used to be impossible. I'm eating some chicken at the moment. Okay. Not ice cream, no. Was I an artist before I became a dev? I mean, if by artist you mean like a kid who liked to draw and animate, then the answer is yes. Wait, what is the way that you are supposed to use? A tag is a string. Oh, that's nice. That's cute. Thanks, Ian. Ian, my brain has... I've been watching a fair bit of chess, and my brain has reprogrammed itself to see the name Ian, that's how we pronounce it in Australia, as Jan. Because of Nepo. Exactly! Literally! Because of Nepomniachtchi. You knew. How did you know that, Robo? I guess that's the only yarn. Why do I stream every day? Am I going to finish the game? I'm working on the game right now. This is me. Okay. So, I need to know if it's a tag and what. I guess we could just do it. If it is a ledge and unit vector direction, a dot product of the ledge's direction vector. There is no direction. I mean, I'd have to... It's fine. This is fine. I'll do it with strings. It's not a big deal. I don't even need that. That's not right. That's what it should be. There you go. Let's try that. Hey, Joao. It's not, you don't need to be a genius in math. It's just a little bit of algebra. It's not crazy. You would be surprised how little there is. Some maths in like some game dev requires a lot of maths, but most I don't think it does. I mean, it depends on what kind of game programming you're trying to do. Like this isn't maths. This is basic logic. It's really simple. There's a bit of geometry, a little bit of algebra. I think it's more like, you know, like a little bit of set theory and Boolean like logic and what do you call it? Like union, like what do you call the like operations? Like union, like understanding how to manipulate logic is more important than understanding maths per se. You know, like this here, this stuff. If I take like a thing here and then I make it a group and then I take another group and I take them both, this stuff, union, subtraction, intersection, exclusion, like and, or, XOR, that kind of stuff. And it's not, you don't have to know that stuff. You just have to understand that stuff. Like, you don't have to know the words. You don't have to know the academics of it. You just have to be able to comprehend it, you know? I did it backwards. There we go. And you know what? Most of the time, you will understand it. You'll know it. Oh, now I've done it backwards again, somehow. Like if you've played games, you will understand logic. Wait, what? I can't grab onto this ledge. If your position is greater and it's a ledge L, yeah. If your position is less than, that makes sense to me. I don't think you should learn maths before making games. I think you should learn code, and when you run up against some maths that you don't understand, then worry about it. Hey, we did it. But that collider looks like it's not a trigger, which is a little disappointing. Fixed. Now I just need to turn off the physics on it. It shouldn't be... Is it on trigger enter? Physics over... It's physics overlap area, so it actually doesn't even need to be on the same layer as anything that we can touch. It's on the walls layer, but it doesn't even need to be on that at all. It doesn't even need to be on the default layer. It could be on physics.nocollide, I think I call it. No collide. No collision. Oh, did I manually give it no collision? Okay. And then just make sure that I'm not doing a check specifically on... Oh, I am. No collision, walls. Okay, good. Okay, ready? Hello. In 15 minutes. Hot. Are you gonna get ready? Do you not want to go? Yeah, I'm about to wrap up the stream and I'm gonna go. I'm already showered. Did you forget? You said you wanted to leave at 8, so you can leave at 8. None of my business. It's fine. It's Friday. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. So? What are you worried about? Oh, that won't happen. Alright, pals. I'm gonna go in a second, but I'm... Huh? Sorry, what? Could you not? My wife is... Can I tell them what you just did?
No. I mean, I don't know.
She's naughty. Alright. I gotta go. So...
Baba, I'm bored.
You're bored? Go get ready. Alright, we're gonna go. I'll see you guys later. Have a good... Everyone! Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. I'll maybe post a video. Hopefully on Monday I'll have some really good updates RE the alpha. We're going to be basically reintroducing the Patreon. So new tiers, new access stuff. Basically the alpha should be Patreon only coming Monday, assuming I'm doing everything right. And we might have some extra tests for you as well. So get ready for that. once the alpha is in a good spot, I'm going to be focusing on stuff for a trailer for the game so that we can get some cool Steam stuff happening and maybe even some funding, prospects around the corner. So that the alpha, we're going to like set it up at its basic level, get it at a standard where people can get value out of it, get people locked out who shouldn't have access and people whitelisted in who do have access, and then scaling it as the demand increases. Okay? All right. Thanks, pals. I'll catch ya. As always, if you like my content, go become a patron. If you want access to this stuff, that's where you'll get it. As always, I've been Adam. You've been the Pixel Pals. This has been the Indie Tales Game Dev live stream. Until next time.